Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, featuring today a 2 vs 2. Yes, indeed, it's been some time we've had the 2 vs 2, but not a lot of good ones have come my way, mostly Novice Monday fight material. That sort of limits things up a bit, but I thought this one was, well, alright. So let's do this. It's going to be a 2 vs 2 in the ruins of Lorraine. Yes, indeed, Lorraine. Opposing in the southern corner shall be I Love You From My Heart. Oh, how sweet. And fighting alongside shall be Misspleasedontdothis. That already sounds a bit disturbing, you know. Tells a little story about a crazy woman. But opposing these chaps shall be, in the northern corner, Keto Reloaded, fighting for the Wehrmacht and fighting for the Panzer Elite. Drink Belzebuth, who I know is about our level 16 at least as the Americans. But nonetheless, together they are fighting for the 107th Panzer Brigade. And in fact, let's just get right down to it. As for news, well, still waiting. Apparently there's some sort of embargo on things. We're not going to be hearing of, well, any details before next week. Tragically. Most tragically, in fact. Bit of discussion going there. Always try to discuss with your teammate. Teamwork is good. I repeat, teamwork is good. Wehrmacht quarters going up. Panzer Brigade is on the way here. And from the Americans, we're seeing 1 barracks, 2 barracks. So a pretty aggressive start from the Americans as well. This is nice to see. That's only going to help them quite a bit. Anyways, there was some fellow who actually noted something interesting. There was a bit of concept art shown from that on Twitter, partially showing some German troops. And one fellow actually noted something interesting about the badges they're wearing. They belong to the Russian Liberation Army. Yes, indeed, that could mean, in fact, Osttruppen or East Soldiers for the Wehrmacht, or whatever it's going to be called in Comedy Furious 2. How will they work? Probably something along the lines of Volksgrenadiers, just perhaps with Soviet equipment. Might be a doctrinal call-in, might be sort of the equivalent of the Volksgrenadiers in that they'd be the 1st Infantry unit. Or I suppose it could even be a builder unit for all I know, as Hiwis, which were Hilfswillige, which was certainly something also the Germans used. So I mean, that certainly opens up a bit of things, and certainly not the sort of thing you actually hear much about in regards to World War II. In fact, they actually played a reasonably large part. In fact, there were a lot of Russians fighting for the Germans in Stalingrad. Quite a few, which might surprise many. But Engineers going, oh, Engineer Squad actually went down pretty early on. Panzer still getting fired here. Not really exactly the best position for the Panzer again. Rifle just sort of at the window there, firing away. Panzer can't really respond. In fact, they seem to be utterly occupied. There we go, getting pushed out though. Retreating, in fact, Panzer in the middle of the road. Rifleman going down. Pulling away to another structure. Oddly enough. But we are seeing an MG42 moving in for Keto Reloaded. And we might be seeing some Volksgrenadiers moving up. Getting taking a bit of damage, not looking good. Pioneers moving about in the north, absolutely no infantry support there. 1 Panzer squad moving in to deal with some engineers. MGs 42 setting up, firing away madly at the engineers inside that house. While the riflemen taking up position over there in this one. Panzers here have to be careful against, don't stand out in the open, not exactly good for your health. More rifle moving in, these Panzer Grenadiers need to consider at the very least retreating. Very low on health, down to 1 man. That's usually what you consider very bad. And there we go, retreating. Of course, past a lot of riflemen eager to fire at him. And got gunned down by the engineers. How unfortunate. MG still holding out there. Volksgrenadiers pushed back by some riflemen and a jeep from Misspleasedontdothis. In the meanwhile, the Pioneers are getting pretty bold, in fact, sneaking in through here, trying to go for the fuel points tonight. To the Americans, even cut things off. A bit rare you see something like that, but looks like the American commander is finally reacting. And of course, the Americans are fighting all together for the 4th Infantry Division. Apologies about that. Sometimes they do slip up. But fighting into the ruined city of Lorraine in the Alsace-Lorraine region. Keep moving out against the Pioneers. Other Pioneers getting pushed away as well. A nice little adventure, but didn't last very long. Meanwhile, pushing through here in the south. And while Mr. Keto Reloaded did say he'd get some medic bunkers up, so far they do seem to be a bit absent, not quite there. And certainly a bit of a blow right there to drink right in the beginning with the one Panzer Brigade squad already dead. Kettenkrad getting repaired. I mean, it rather seems like they are losing a bit their impetus. Not really breaking through. Volksguns are getting much too spread out. I mean, we have one squad here, one squad up here. I mean, the Wehrmacht and the Axis in general really seem to be lacking a bit of punch. And sadly, Belzebuth is not really helping. He's in fact, looks like he's rushing for an armored car. That might help a bit, but that's not necessarily going to be the end-all cure. But again, I mean, generally, as a rule of thumb, as the Wehrmacht, try to keep your Volksgunners together. Don't spread them out too far. They might not end up surviving. In particular, since they could easily get ganged up. On further fighting continues here. Engineers, riflemen moving in. MG42 getting flanked. Taking up position in that structure. Panzers and Volksgunners now covering the flank of the MG. These riflemen are not going to be liking that. That's quite a bit of firepower being arrayed against them. To put it mildly. And the riflemen also evacuate the structure, so there might be some slight progress in the south. Pioneers moving forward might be to set up that medic bunker he talked about. Skirmish phase on the way. 3 Volksguard squads moving up to support the first one, which is at this stage just being pushed back. While it's moving up with Pioneer support with flamethrowers, rifle getting burned now. But all the Pioneers could be lost at this very same time. Well, there we go. Riflemen with heavy losses pushed away. Please don't do this. Pushing up with a nice solid assault. Lots of troops, a jeep, and some flamethrowers. And meanwhile, though, we are seeing further advances in the south. The center doesn't really seem to be seeing much fighting at all. And, using Panzer Brigade to take points, in particular medium and high points, is not really the most effective thing. Might be better to sort of focus them up with the rest. Another solid push from I Love You From My Heart. Seems a bit incongruous with the whole war aspect. And to get some past the MG. Oh, they're all getting suppressed. How unfortunate. How very unfortunate. Fraps acting a bit up. And let's try again. Back to the fight. Fraps still not behaving very nice. Defensive has been chosen for key to reloaded. I mean, considering the whole timing aspect of it, barely holding any of the map. Defensive might not seem like the brightest choice, something that could actually help him push out, like Blitzkrieg or Terror would have been a bit better choice. Perhaps, going Blitzkrieg, getting some stormtroopers out to lead the way. But apparently, key to reloaded has better ideas. Belzebuth, though, really opening up with his armored car. Could even be knocking out an entire rifleman squad. Medic station, though, are for the American commander then. That's nice to see. One rifle squad, in fact, looks to have been utterly annihilated. Another push right there. Please don't do this. Has gone for BS. Also note he's actually placed observation posts on these 2 fuel points. Which is actually quite severe. That's 400 manpower just being spent on that. Not necessarily what I'd recommend, in particular since they are probably low fuel points. I mean, there's nothing wrong in trying to get a bit more fuel up in that way. I don't really think that's necessarily the most effective way of doing it. Riflemen, though, getting suppressed. Armor car adding into the fire again. German medics pulling in their own wounded. Still, the Americans are holding most of the map, and apparently he's using this to set up several emplacements to try and make it a bit harder for the Germans to advance. That could work. Krieg barracks up, it looks like, for Quito, who's now getting some Grenadier. Some slightly tougher infantry than the Volksgrenadiers. Which is only going to be nice. Oh, hitting a mine right there. Right in the face. Not very nice. Several wounded heavily, others dead. A bit shocked, I imagine. More mines, though. Be careful. I mean, as a rule of thumb, when your troops are this wounded, don't send them in like that. I mean, if they'd been even a bit more clumped up, they might all have died. But a good use of mining, of course, by the American commanders. Mines going down there himself from key to reloaded. Volksguard thankfully being retreated. No further mines over here, though. Another push from I Love You From Heart, now getting a supply of his own. Not a lot of infantry though from Misspleasedontdothis. He only seems to have 2 rifle squads. He seems to be rather keen on taking out a more supportive role with that all of that fuel being pumped out. Of course, trying to get a fuel advantage over the Wehrmacht, which I suppose is an idea. In particular, since I'm pretty sure most of the fuel points, if not all of them, are in fact low. Grenadiers, they're running into a lot of trouble. Heavy BAR fire taking their toll. As for the Russian Liberation Army itself, it was sort of a more of a late war aspect, and didn't really manage to do much more as the Ost Battalion. It was sort of the front runner, composed of different sort of troops from Russia, of different ethnicities. Did more, although some were deemed a bit unreliable and sent over to the Western Front, where they fought in Normandy and other places where they didn't necessarily do a great job. There was even a sort of a Russian SS division, which did do a bit of fighting as well. Russian Liberation Army again, late war, got 2 divisions, the 600th and 650th Panzer Grenadier divisions, with one quickly running away from the Germans, in fact deserting, which was really auspicious. Not sure what happened with the other. But still, I mean, I suppose Ostrova might be an idea. Would be fun to see, certainly. Although again, if they're regular troops or doctrinal, I'm not entirely sure. A bit of losses here, some troops going down, engineers. Interesting enough, there's no attempt at grenades from the Americans. I mean, there's going to be some fuel in this. Motor pool up for I Love You From My Heart. Panzer Grenadiers retreating. Armor cowling out there. Volksguns getting gunned down. Medics pulling in the wounded. Another emplacement going down, but again, I do think grenades would be a really nice choice. Veterans up for the infantry. Sneaking about here, nice move using the roads or streets to sort of bypass and sort of hit the Germans in other places. Nice move there. In fact, let's go have a look at them. Please don't do this. Again, not a lot of units. In fact, pretty low on them. Again, not really what I recommend. I mean, in a case like this where there are only low fuel points, I suppose, but I mean, not 2 of them right away. Seems just a bit excessive, and I'd certainly at least recommend getting some grenades then. So now that he's floating fuel, but he's not really having much use of it. Riflemen need to desperately get out of there. Airborne also getting out, and then again a grenade really here would have helped, you know. Grenade a few of those charging Panzer Grenadiers, set them dead. Still a bit of pressure here and there on the different flanks. More airborne popping in. And considering he's gone airborne, it might have been a better choice. It might have been a better choice. He's also gone for the munitions points. Well, never mind then. But again, that's 800 manpower and all that. That's 800 manpower. That's definitely over the top. Definitely. And neither side really neither of the Americans really seem to get much out of their fuel, which does also seem a bit silly then.
Taking one of our
so really have to question the sensibility of doing that.
We have a secured sector under attack.
Trying to flank here, but MG clearing the flank, pushing up through in the center. Infantry's been chosen from I Love You From My Heart, so he might of course call in some artillery.
Trying to take our territory.
Flame for engineers getting gunned down, not really doing too well for the Americans right now, and clearing out this little pocket.
Hitting one of our forward emplacements.
Taking fire from all sides. More armored cars from Belzebuth. 107th Panzer Brigade really proving to be a nuisance. Recallist rifles advancing, opening up.
Trying to take our territory.
Can't really seem to hit the armor car. There we go, though. Damaged engine, but assault rifle Panzers moving in. Able to do full damage to airborne, which is not all weapons can do that, in particular infantry weapons. Quick counter-attack by Volksguns and Grenadiers save the Panzer Grenadiers, but still airborne up, pushing up in a slightly more entrenched position. But they are going to need support. It looks like I Love You From My Heart pushing in. Grenades ready now, that's about damn time. We might be seeing that over here. Grenadiers taking losses. There we go, Grenadier. Oh, right on the retreating Volksgrenadiers. That's less unfortunate. Still, the losses continue. Grenadiers continue to get gunned down. More medic stations might be nice.
Enemy unit.
Ooh, Grenadier squad gun absolutely wiped out. Pushing through here. Rangers, flamethrower engineers, riflemen, armored cars, and Panzer Grenadiers holding up the rear. Panzer Grenadiers apparently expecting some sort of vehicles, but we are only seeing anti-tank gun. I mean, the Americans do seem to sort of realize they might not get much out of vehicles, at least they're feeling they don't, but I mean, the opponent doesn't really have much either in that sense. So there really seems to be some odd things going on with the Americans. Bunker getting blasted away though. Airborne advancing up. Trying to burn away at that bunker, but of course defensive doctrine makes bunkers much tougher, plus allowing you to reinforce from them with the right ability upgrades, whatever. And another push from the airborne. We call this rifles galore. And let's go have a look at I Love You From My Heart. If you went for howitzers right now, could really call in a lot. And there we go, satchel charge on the bunker. Full screen is awfully close. There we go, getting away. And the medic bunker though goes down. Not sure how many Grenadiers came out of that for Mr. Reloaded or Key to Reloaded. Panzer's advancing up. Flanks over here seem slightly less active. All of fighting really seems to be happening down here in the south. Bunker going up. Could be another medic bunker, or could be a repair bunker, sort of help with the armored cars. Rangers and airborne continue the fights. Rangers have been equipped with Thompsons in this case. Medics pulling in the wounded. Lovely to see. Nebelwerfer is up right for Keto.
Base is under attack.
And jolly good, actually got us applied upgrade. That's great. And the Americans are certainly keeping the Panzer Elite boxed in, or well, the Axis in general. They hold most of the victory points. And they're certainly doing their way, and of course now with them only having a medic station, that's certainly going to push the attrition slightly in favor of the Americans, although another medic station I think would be a great move. Riflemen getting suppressed. Remember to attack from different sides, not just across one point, right into the MG fire. Remember.
Down to 300 points.
Lots of bazooka fire, anti-tank gun dropping in from above. Airborne sneaking in from the flank. Flamethrowers might be trying to also flank the heavy machine gun from the other side. Although the assault rifle Panzers might make that a bit of a problem. Satchel charges on the repair bunker. Airborne in the structure. MG getting scorched. Panzer's getting scorched. Panzer bazooka rockets flying. Oh dear, the MG retreating, almost dead. Flamethrowers at the airborne. Absolute carnage. Chaos. Explosions and fire everywhere. Repair bunker almost done. Fresh rifleman out. Push onwards. Onwards, brave men. More Rangers moving in. Submachine guns blazing again. A howitzer would be a really nice thing, or he could go straight for the off-map combat group and hope to break through that way. That might actually work. Might get him some tank destroyers or an armored car to deal with the German ones. Nebelwerfer fire though raking through. Could of course also just get some hand grenades himself. Ooh! Assault grenades getting torn through. Gaining the Rangers, actually veterans. One more rifle moving up though. Some suppressed from the Nebelwerfer. Finds that pinned down. Another Panzer Grenadier bites the dust. Armored cars moving up. Oh, it looks like the anti-tank gun got knocked out.
Enemy unit down.
But a Panzer Grenadier squad bites the dust fully. Mortars now arrived from on the battlefield. Another push through here by Grenadiers. And Volksgrenadiers trying to clear out that point while our Volksgrenadiers moving up here. pretty brazen, while most of the attention is down here. They're also sneaking about in the north and the center. Good move. And it's actually time for the mid-game analysis, and yes, we do have time for that. Of course, it's not going to be an hour-long game. I mean, current situation is slightly evening out now. I mean, the Americans sort of too heavy focus on infantry and not quite, getting those armored cars. It's really starting to drain them out. They need to consider something else, perhaps. I mean, an armored car would work nicely because, again, the opponent doesn't really have much in anti-tank assets, but they do seem so utterly focused on just infantry that they are suffering for it. I mean, a tank depot would also be nice. I mean, one Sherman could really wreak havoc right now. Of course, an off-map combat group. But the Americans still need to really deliver a blow that means something to the Axis and then move forwards again. I mean, currently they're sort of being ground up in the south, and the Axis is sneaking up here and there to sort of do as much damage as they can. So now they actually have to start being careful, and the armored cars are taking a heavy toll. They need a new battle plan, and they need it now. The Axis, on the other hand, are finally breaking through. They might consider getting some armor, although it looks like the Wehrmacht command is just getting Nebelwerfers, which can certainly help, but also perhaps a Stug or an armored car could be of great assistance, or a Panzer command. And Belzebuth could be considering getting a Panther battle group, which could definitely also be of help. But let us return to the fight.
Enemy unit down.
Mortar fire. Cordless rifle full screen is getting a bit too close to everything. Taking dire heavy losses. Looks like the Americans are finally losing some victory points, and I suspect we might be seeing some more little towards here. Also note, I believe they are veterancy free. No, only veterancy 2, but at veterancy 3 they actually get a damage bonus. Panthers have arrived. That's only going to make things a lot more difficult for the Allies, as they have absolutely no armor, only bazookas and recordless rifles mostly. Perhaps some anti-tank guns, but it's rather limited what they can bring to the fight. Armor car, though, taking a bit of damage here. Bazooka rockets doing a bit of damage. Lots of Nebelwerfer fire, making things difficult for the airborne. Flamethrower pioneers, veterancy 2. But taking quite a bit of damage despite that.
Enemy unit
Oh, they went down. Rangers desperately trying to get that armored car.
Artillery support is waiting to get go.
Or perhaps the other one as well. There's quite a few more Rangers moving up. These Rangers barely alive. Mortar could do well in pulling up. And miss, please don't do this. Moving through in several points. Grenades against the Volksgrenadiers. Volksgrenadiers to retreat. And then, no, the riflemen actually retreat. And looks like we're finally getting some artillery. Right on the heavy machine gun. Veterancy 3. So that also means, of course, the Nebelwerfers are veterancy 3, meaning they do extra damage now. And that's... Oh, the MG42 went down. Panther's still there, although heavily damaged. Support units here need to pull up to assist. Lots of tank busters and panzers with Panzer Streks, but again, no real armor for the Allies. No real armor at all. Panthers moving in towards the central point. That's good. North has been cleared by the troops of the brigade. Airborne trying to move in to salvage things. Panzer is moving in to try and protect the Panther. Going to be a bit of a clash there. Instead, the Panther is going to end up getting suppressed by the machine gun emplacement. So much howling from the Nebelwerfers. Getting pinned, damaged pretty nastily. Providing nice protection for the Panther. Making things a lot easier for the Axis, and they're now moving in from the north as well. Volksgunners with MP40s. Grenadiers with a Panzer Strek. veterancy free for the German infantry as well. Looks like there's absolutely no armor from him. Keats really basically doing the infantry fighting. And again, I mean, I have absolutely no understanding of why he put observation posts on both fuel points when they have absolutely barely used fuel themselves. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And I mean, they're not exactly bad players, but again, 2 versus 2 players do seem to have some flaws here and there. But still, I mean, really, why? Something very odd going on here, to say the least. But again, we are talking about players of the level 16 level, so I mean, they're not exactly complete novices. But I do wonder what went through his head when he placed those 2 observation posts. I mean, it makes very little sense. In particular, since they haven't used the fuel at all. I mean, he's got up close to 500 fuel. I mean, had he not bothered, he'd still have a lot of fuel, which he might have actually been able to use because he'd had manpower then. Not really good. And now it looks like the noose is tightening around the American forces. Sticky bombs now from I Love You From My Heart. Let's go have a look at Belzebuth again, now with the Hummel. Definitely not going to make things easier for the Allies. Rangers in a brutal fight with German infantry. Submachine guns blazing, but looks like they are losing to the German ones. Anti-tank gun got knocked out by intense Hummel fire. In fact, heavy machine gun might go down as well. Certainly sounds like it. Enemy rifle section neutralized, we heard from the Hummel. And now we're seeing snipers out from Misspleasedontdothis. Odd indeed.
Enemy contact. We are taking fire. Ready for combat action. We have set tank brigade as ordered.
Oh dear! Oh, bloody hell! He knocked out his own artillery! He called in a defensive artillery barrage, which knocked out his own Nebelwerfers! Oh! Bloody hell! You don't place your Nebelwerfers on the front line, you definitely don't call in a registered barrage. Sort of try and you knocked them out. You didn't even kill anyone. The only one you killed were your own troops, you madman. I mean, you're going to be, no matter if you win, you're going up against court-martial. Oh my goodness! American infantry now getting slaughtered. Now there's actually something hitting. Bloody hell, there's a lot of suddenly dying to artillery. And an incendiary grenade actually managed to do a bit as well. Panzer Brigade is barely holding on, getting reinforced from the bunker. Oh, but artillery knocks out as well, just as quickly. Panther moving in, medics moving in. Lots of everything moving around. Looks like the Americans are making a slight return. Airborne versus Panzer Brigade. If the airborne can. Oh! One Panzer Brigade already down. A grenade would be a nice move, but no armored car arrives to ruin the day. I Love You From My Heart. Pretty bruised. Lots of artillery, though we are seeing scorched earth from Belzebuth. Roadblocks for cover, and of course making vehicles harder to move, but I pretty much believe it's mostly for the cover. since there's no vehicles again from the Americans.
Self-propelled howitzers are available to take the field.
Panther's getting sniped. Panther getting hit in the sides by bazooka fires. Be careful, moving too close to the driving. Could get sticky bombed. Could get sticky bombed. No, did not get sticky bombed. What an absolute miss right there. That one. More fire towards the center. Engineers getting absolutely pummeled. And down.
Superiority once again.
Returning to Keter Reloaded. Keter Reloaded, I mean. Ah. Bit of a weird game, this. And looks like we got a strafing run right here. Pinning and killing a few. A grenade goes right off. Oh, killing more. Quite nice with that. And Sniper joins in as well. All of a sudden, rather heavy losses for Keter Reloaded. All of his infantry just got gutted. Still, recoilless rifles not exactly the most accurate thing to use against armored cars. You're better off with anti-tank guns or armor or bazookas, but not recoilless rifles. They're not really that effective. And artillery also tried in. The Allies are getting utterly desperate. Again, those armored cars have been a huge thorn, and there's been no real attempt to really get them. Nothing sensible. At least no armored cars, no tank destroyers. And the Rangers now getting utterly hammered. We're seeing a reconnaissance run. We've seen an attempt at artillery. 2 Hummels up, in fact. No artillery on the German artillery. No howitzers in their bases either. And now we're seeing actual just disabling the points, making it harder for the Americans to actually move out. Nice move. Armored car bites dust. Panther is moving in from the sides and getting utterly wiped out. But rather looks like things are falling apart from the Americans. Again, a not really well thought out strategy, I think. A bit too loose, things falling a bit too quickly apart. Once the armor arrived. Grenades here and there. No LMG for the grenades, could be fun to see. Lots of Rangers now, that's 3 Ranger squads, some quite veteran, others not. Some with submachine guns, others not. But looks like the Rangers do retreat in the face of this force. Interesting enough, there's been absolutely no armor from Keter Reloaded. But hopefully at least he's not getting more need with lost to his own artillery fire. That would be something. Let's go have a look at Miss. Please don't do this again. Booby traps going off. Artillery against the Grenadiers, who have actually managed to secure an American bazooka. They had managed, now they're dead. Pushed by armored cars and Panthers towards the center. Airborne trying to move in towards the center victory point. But again, the armored car proves to be the foil. Oh my goodness! He got those Panzers while they were trying to repair the Panther. And they were bunched up too. I mean, oh my goodness! Oh bloody hell, that was an absolute massacre. And there's no medic bunker to pick them up at least. That's just horrific.
Losing ground out there.
And again, usually try not to do something like that at the front line. That was just terrible. Some very huge, insane losses all of a sudden. Tragedies, if you will.
destroyed.
And the airborne went down. I mean, this is definitely a bit of an odd one.
Friendly HQ is taking fire.
Rifleman,
Sector
getting
being
torn
captured.
through. Let's just speed this up a bit. Oh, and look, I mean, Misspleasedontdothis is that's. I love you from height. I mean, just absolutely devastated. Sending in troops, barely reinforced. Flamethrower Pioneer, Sweatson's flame moving in to deal with these Rangers, forcing the Rangers away. Simply too tough. Sect artillery on the remainders of these riflemen. I mean, this is pretty much game over. The Americans have barely anything left. Simply poor execution of strategy, essentially. Let's just speed this nightmare up. Looks like we're seeing increased squad size of Belzebuth, although that's a bit late now.
Allied base. We have a threat to our victory.
But this is pretty much the end. GG, and there we go. A loss for the American 4th Infantry Division. I mean, we've already sort of gotten the idea of what lost them. I mean, I have absolutely no idea why he spent so much manpower on those 2 points. It makes very little sense. I mean, can see something in it, but he didn't even use it. In that way, that wouldn't make it give sense. He just floated fuel, both it. So in that way, no sense at all made. Absolute lack of armor, despite the opponent having very little to actually stop them. I mean, one armored car could easily make things a lot easier for them. Also, doctrinal choice. I mean, one might actually benefit from going armor. Recoilless rifles do not work well against armored cars. Something else would have done better, but no, again, they just sort of kept spamming them. They definitely also need more medic stations, but really there was just a lot of things that just didn't mesh together, which really created a larger problem, which allowed the Wehrmacht to easily crush them in the end. I mean, just terrible. I mean, they had a great start, and then they just sort of threw it away. And I don't know why or how entirely. I mean, it just makes a little sense. But again, that's what you can occasionally get in 2 versus 2. Some trouble is, as you go down, lower down the ranks, it just gets worse in that sense. It's also one of the reasons why I prefer not to show so many 2 versus 2s, because a lot of them are absolute rubbish. But there you go. Do hope you enjoy this game. Do hope you learned something, for heaven's sake. And if you did, why not subscribe or tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.